To be outdoors at least before the storms hit. We caught quite a crowd at Monument Lake yesterday afternoon, wading in the waters, kayaking, and doing some boating around. But just as quickly as people came, they scattered when heavy winds and rain moved in. Yeah, it was right around 3 p.m. Let's get a check on the weather. Do we expect those thunderstorms to remain today? Here's Marty with the latest.
And good morning, Kershani. Living in Monument, yeah, that was a pretty windy little batch of storms that came through, but we also picked up some nice rain and cooled off after what was a pretty hot start to the day. We're not expecting as much of that today. We do have the wind, though, and that's already starting to blow the flags in the trees around here, as seen from Mortgage Solutions Financial at North Union and Montebello Street. We're generally in the 50s to lower 60s right now across much of the area. And we're expecting to be in the 80s, I think, around Colorado Springs as we head into the late afternoon hours. But I don't think that we're going to have to worry, as I mentioned, much about those storms. And so it'll be a little bit easier for you if you're trying to get out and about, walk around, not to have to worry about that. Right now, the airports are generally showing 60s here along the Front Range. We still have 70s in eastern Colorado. Lyman's at 59, and it's quite cool up here over the mountains and mountain valleys with 40s to lower 50s. And it's just because the air has gotten considerably drier, and it's one of the reasons we're not too worried about showers and thunderstorms along and west of the interstate today. So you see that things are pretty quiet here on Futurecast in the western parts of our coverage area. But you do see some color here on the eastern plains, as we do have a little plume of moisture overhead. It'll try, and I want to stress try, to produce a little rain at times. I don't think any rain that develops in eastern Colorado today is going to last very long, as it will be falling into some very dry air and generally trying to evaporate as it's heading towards the ground. But briefly, we could get at least a couple of showers out across the plains later on. The one thing everybody will have today is some wind, and sustained wind speeds of 15 to 25 miles an hour look pretty common through the afternoon, one of the major reasons why we have fire weather concerns today. And we'll have some wind up here over the mountains too. Occasionally the gusts could be over 30 miles an hour, so that'll be a bit of an annoyance today for sure. And unlike yesterday, once we get hot, we're going to stay there. You know, we did have those thunderstorms come across the area and cool the air considerably during the mid and late afternoon hours yesterday. That won't happen today for most of us. So 80s and 90s along the I-25 corridor, near 100 for the far eastern plains again. 60s and 70s once you get up across the high country, with 80s for the southern valleys. We should expect 70s in Teller County today, where I don't even think you'll have to worry much about a sprinkle. We're looking for mid-80s across northern parts of Colorado Springs, with upper 80s to lower 90s once you hit downtown and head southward into the county. Low to mid-90s along the Arkansas River from Canyon City to Pueblo, with a mixture of 70s and 80s on the higher terrain to the south and west of town. Should we manage to generate any showers or sprinkles out across the plains, those would maybe last into the evening hours and then kind of fall apart, leaving us with a partly cloudy sky over the far eastern plains and a mostly clear sky along and west of I-25. Pretty dry air in place tonight, so we should cool efficiently with 30s over the high country, 40s to lower 50s for the big valleys and for our local mountain areas, and a mixture of 50s and 60s in eastern Colorado, warmest where the wind is kind of hanging on across the far eastern plains. You see the partly cloudy conditions at Highway 115 in Turkey Creek this morning, but again, the clouds are kind of to the east of the Front Range. Once the sun gets a little higher, it'll come right over them, and then we'll just be sunny the rest of the day here, I think, along the I-25 corridor. More heat the next few days, more fire weather, probably not a lot of rain. The extended forecast is coming up soon.
Lots of fire weather concerns, yeah.
Yeah, which is normal, by the way, this time of year. We're kind of in that window of time where we've gotten away from the cold fronts and the bigger storms that, you know, like last week, give us snow.
The fluke snow, yeah.
And we don't yet have the monsoon flow in place, so that usually comes more in July.
Gotcha. Alrighty, thanks for the update, Marty.
You're welcome.
Now,